Hello and welcome back. Previously we looked at the employment income, and I showed you that we take salary, then benefits, bonus, and we do some deductions as well. Now we were looking at the benefits, if you remember, and we looked some of the benefits, and we also looked at the deductions which we can deduct. And I told you that we will look at more benefits today in this lecture. So let's move to our notes then. But before we look at the more of the benefits, if you remember, I left one example from your earlier lessons. Now, if you could please move to page 10 of your notes, please. Page 10 of your lecture notes, please. Now, on page 10 of lecture notes, there is an example of rent-a-room relief. I showed you how to calculate the rent-a-room relief. There were two ways to calculate it. One is alternate way, and one is ordinary way, and other is alternate way or rent-a-room relief way. So we can choose lower of both of them, but there was a date by which we must inform HMRC. All right. So there is an example here. If you see just beneath rent-a-room relief example, it says. I'm not sharing the screen with you because I will solve the question on the board. Please make sure you check on your notes. Example rent-a-room relief. Alex has rented a furnished room in his main residence at a rent of £20,000 per annum throughout the tax year 15-16. So how much rent he was being paid? £20,000 per annum. So there are two ways. First of all, we will do it with the ordinary way, right? So ordinary way. Hang on. So first way is ordinary way. So if I write it down just here, that is our ordinary way. So ordinary way to calculate was, we take the rent. So how much is the rent? Rent, it says in the question, is of £20,000. But we have to deduct the expenses as well out of it. So just the way it shows on the notes. So we take the rent on accrual basis, then we deduct the revenue expenses. Are there any expenses which is incurred by Alex? Yes, there are some. In the question it says Alex incurred repair and maintenance cost of £300 in respect of the rented room. So we will deduct the repair and maintenance or expenses. R&M, I'm writing it down. R&M, please make sure you write down full form because I'm just trying to save the time. So repair and maintenance cost, how much is it? It is £300. So we deduct £300 out of it. Also, if you remember, and it is given in the notes as well, we must deduct the 10% wear and tear allowance as far as ordinary way is concerned. So 10% of wear and tear allowance. What was the formula of wear and tear allowance? We take the rent, we deduct some deductions like bad debts, council tax, water rates, right? So we take the rent. How much is the rent? £20,000. We have to deduct some deductions out of it. What are the deductions? Water rates, council tax, and bad debts. Is there any given in the questions? I think there isn't anything else. There is no expense given as far as water wear and tear allowance is given. So I told you that if there are no expenses at all, we just take the straight 10% off the rent because there are no expenses to deduct out of it. So we will take wear and tear allowance, W&T allowance, and we have to take rent. How much it is? It is £20,000, and we take 10% of it. It comes to £2,000. We also have to deduct this one as well. So if we deduct 2,000 out of it, it is 18,000, 17,700. I think the answer is 17,700 if we deduct these two expenses out of it, right? Another way is alternate way. So we must calculate that as well. Alternate way. So we must calculate in both ways, and whichever results lower, we must opt that one. In alternate way, it says we must take the rent first, but we cannot deduct the expenses. So how much is the rent? Rent is £20,000. However, there is an exemption in rent-a-room relief. Excuse me, how much is the exemption? So exemption is 4250. It is called rent-a-room relief less exemption. So exemption is 4250. If we deduct this one out of this, I assume it will come as 15,750. But please make sure you check this answer. I'm not sure, but I assume the answer would be 15,750. Right? Please make sure you check with the calculator. Now we have to choose lower of these two, as you know, whichever results in lower one is this one, alternate way. So we must opt this one instead of that one. Although we are not deducting any expenses out of this, but there is an exemption of 4250. So that's why we are going to have less income as far as rental room relief is concerned. So this is the amount which will go into our property income because it is coming as low. Now you know we haven't deducted any expenses. We just deducted the exemption, but also we haven't deducted the wear and tear allowance out of this, because wear and tear allowance will only be deducted out of the ordinary way. It will not be deducted from the alternate way. Right? So that's it. Now could you please move forward and come to page 12 of your notes, please? Now, because if you go back to page 11, we have completed till benefits number 7, medical insurance premium. I'm sharing the screen now with you. Now we're looking at benefit number 8, cars. Right? Right. So now we are going to see the benefits. You remember this one was a separate topic. It one was property income. I just showed you the example. The topic which we are now going to discuss is part of employment income. So salary, bonus, benefits. So one of the benefit is benefit of car, so which we are going to discuss now. Right. So if the employer gives you a car, if the employer gives a car to the employee, how to calculate benefit on it? Employer might give some fuel as well to run the car. How to calculate that as well? So we are discussing the benefit of cars. Right. So when employer gives a benefit of car to employee, we will have to see how big the car is, how new the car is, what is the price of the car, did employee contributed something in buying the car, or wholly paid by the employer himself. So we will have to see them things. Also, HMRC says that please buy the green cars. Now, green car doesn't mean color green. Green car means environment friendly cars. So environment friendly cars are the cars which which are environment friendly, which does not which are exhibiting less carbon dioxide emissions. So they are environment friendly. Because the new cars produced in the UK, they are environment friendly. So they on them you will have to pay less tax. Whereas the old cars, if you go back to 2000 and 2002-3 model of any car, they are not as friendly of the environment as the new ones are. All right. So you must, when you are going to buy the car in the UK, please make sure ask the manufacturer that how much is the carbon dioxide emission of this car. So they will tell you the lower the emission is, the less tax will you have to pay. Right. So here you go, how to calculate the benefits of the car. Please look at your notes now. Number 8, cars. First we'll have to take the list price. Now the list price will be given to you in the question. So list price is the official list price of the car. It is the market price, or you can say list price. So it will be given to you in the exam. Then you will have to deduct capital contribution. Now capital contribution is the amount which is paid by the employee when buying the car. Say for example the cost of the car was 15,000 pounds, but the employee said I will pay 5,000 pounds as well. So employee is paying 5,000 pounds and rest of the stuff is paid by the employer. So whatever the employee is paying towards the car, it will be deducted. However, there is a maximum limit which can be deducted while calculating this. Say for example employee has contributed 10,000 pounds, but in this formula you can only deduct maximum of 5,000 pounds. You cannot deduct more than that, right? As far as this formula is concerned. Then you deduct capital contribution out of it, multiplied by 14%. Now 14%, what is that? Just beneath that it explains 14% is a standard in the formula, but it can be more than that or it can be less than that. How more than that? How less than that? It is explained beneath that. Now it will be, instead of 14, it will be 5 if car emits 50 grams per kilometer CO2 or less than that. So if the car is emitting 50 grams per kilometer, it will be given to you in the exam. So it is not our subject area to investigate. It will be given to you in the exam that what is the carbon dioxide emission of the car. So if it is 50 grams, then it will be 5 instead of 14 in the formula. If it is 9 grams, if it is from 51 to 75 grams, it will be 9 in the formula instead of 14. Likewise, if it is from 76 to 94, then it will be 13 in the formula, right? Now, if it is above 94, then definitely it is going to be 14% there. So 14 plus, then in the brackets it says whatever the carbon dioxide emission of the car is, you will have to deduct 95 out of it, and you will have to divide it by 5, right? Say for example, if the car which was provided to you had carbon dioxide emission of 120 grams per kilometer, then what you will have to do is 14 plus 120 less 95 divided by 5, right? Then in the end it says plus 3. Now this plus 3 is only relevant for diesel cars. If the car is diesel, it will tell you in the question as well if it is a petrol or if it is running on the petrol or diesel. If it is diesel car, then 3% will also be added in the 14%, right? Now whatever this percentage is, this is per annum. If the car is provided for less than a year, then you will have to divide the months over the number of years in the year, which are 12. So this formula is for per year. If the car is being provided for less than a year, then you will have to divide months over 12. Months means the months for which the car was provided for. Say for example, if the car was provided for 4 months in a tax year, then you will have to take 4 over 12 in that specific tax year, right? Now as far as this percentage is concerned, 14, where the formula says 14 plus grams per kilometer minus 95 over 5 plus 3. So say for example, if the car emission is 170 grams, 170 or 180, so what we will do is 14 plus 170 less 95 over 5. Now this percentage which we will calculate, the end percentage, can maximum go to 37%. It cannot go beyond that. The maximum it can go to is the 37%. It says just beneath that, if you see, just above the note, it says maximum it can go is to 37%. We will do a little question after that, then you will understand it better. But this is the formula to calculate it. Now everything in this formula is given to you in the exam, but you will have to remember the formula only. So list price will be given to you. Capital contribution will also be given to you. 14% is part of the formula. You will have to remember it. The carbon dioxide emission of the car will also be given to you. And you will have to deduct 95 out of it, and will divide by 5 plus 3 if it is a diesel car, and multiplied by months will also be given to you in the exam. And if there are no months, if the car has been provided for full year, then no need to divide it by 12, right? Then in the note says other benefits associated with the car are exempt, which are insurance, repairs, maintenance, and license. These are all exempt if they are provided by the employer. So these are also, although they are the benefits, but it will be exempt. We don't need to pay tax on that, right? After that it says fuel for car. The formula to calculate the fuel for car is exactly the same which is written in the notes. Whichever the car is, how much the cost of the car, doesn't matter. It would always be 22,100 multiplied by the percentage. Now what percentage is this one? Excuse me. This percentage is exactly the same one which you calculated above that in the cars. So if you have calculated say 20% or 30% above that, then it will be exactly same here. And also you will have to take the months. If it is provided for less than a year, you will have to multiply by months divided by 12, right? And these months are also for exactly the same which you have already calculated, for which the car was provided. Say for example, the car was provided for 10 months, then 10 over 12. After that it says the contribution by employee of private use of fuel is not deductible Say for example, if employee is using the car for private journeys to go out with the family, and the employer is contributing, employee is contributing, the person who is working is contributed something, then that part will not be deductible. After that it says use of other assets. Now use of other assets means that if the employer has given you some other assets to use while you are working, then that part will be taxed. How much it will be taxed? It will be taxed at the standard rate of 20%, whichever the asset is. So other assets could be a laptop, mobile phone, or anything else. So the employer has given you that benefit of using it, but you will have to take 20% of it, and that will be added towards your benefits. So other assets use of other assets, e.g. furniture, computer, TV, stereo system, camera, etc. Now 20% of the market value of asset when first provided. So whenever the asset was provided to employee, whenever first it was provided, then you will have to take 20% of that, and it will be added into your benefits. Now in the note says the benefit will be reduced by months over 12, exactly the same like we did for cars. If the asset is provided for less than a year, then you will have to divide by 12. Then it says other assets provided for use is subsequently purchased by the employee. Say for example, if my boss has given me a laptop and I have used it, and after using some time I asked my employer that if I can buy this one, what shall I do then? How to calculate the benefit? Now this is the way to calculate it. It will be higher of market value of asset when sold to employee. So when I will ask my boss to sell the laptop to me, I will take the value on that day, and I will deduct the price which I will pay to my boss, right? So I will take the market value when I am buying it from my boss, and I will have to deduct what I paid for it, and the remaining one will be the benefit of my other asset, and that amount will be added towards my benefits. The other way is to calculate, take the market value of asset when first provided. So I will have to take the value of laptop when my boss gave me the first time. So it could be 2 years ago. So I will have to take that value, then the amount already taxed on it. So how to calculate the tax? 20% of it. So I will have to deduct how much I have paid tax on it, then the price paid by the employer. I will also have to deduct what I paid for it. So whatever the answer is, it will be added in my benefits. Now there are two ways. We'll have to take the higher of these. That's what is instructed by HMRC. After that it says number 12, approved mileage allowance. Now approved mileage allowance, this table beneath that where it says cars, motorcycles and pedal cycles, and this first 10,000 miles and above 10,000 miles, this table will be given to you in the exam, so you do not have to worry about it. But what are these approved mileage allowance? Now for example, if you are driving your own car for business purposes, but your boss is paying you some amount to run your car, so he's paying something towards the fuel, so that he whenever you go on audit or tax consultancy towards your clients, then he will pay you for the fuel. Your boss will pay you for the fuel. Now it depends how much he's paying. If he's too kind, he could pay you £1 per mile, whatever you drive. If he is not too kind, he can pay you 50 pence or 20 pence per mile. So it depends how much he is paying. So what we'll have to do is, we will have to see how much he is paying. Say for example, my boss said, I'll give you 90 pence per mile. So I will have to calculate how many miles I drove in a year. Say for example, I drove 8,000 miles in a year, and I will have to multiply it by 0.9. So that is the amount which is given by my boss, because my boss said, how many miles you drive, I will give you 90 pence for every mile you drive in a year. So I will have to take 10,000 or 8,000 miles which I drove in a year and multiply it by 0.90. That is the amount which my boss has given to me, right? But is it taxable or not? Now we have to deduct something out of this. Now how much? This is the table which is given to you in the exam. Now this is allowed by HMRC. It says if the boss has given you the car first 10,000 miles, if he has given you 45 pence per mile, that will be exempt. If he has given you more than that, that will be taxable. And above that, it will be 25 pence per mile, right? So I'll have to see if my boss has given me how much my boss has given me then how much tax authorities allow me tax-free. Then whatever the balance is, it will be additional benefit that will be added towards my benefits, in my benefits. Right? Now this table will be given to you in the exam anyway. Now say for example, and also it will also be given to you in the exam that how much your boss is paying you. So you only need to play with the figures. After that it says on page 13, amount up to approved mileage allowance or exempt, excess is taxable. As I said, note if these employee receive less than approved mileage allowance, then the amount less than approved mileage allowance is a deduction. So say for example, it could happen that approved mileage allowance is more than what your boss has paid you. In that case, it will be a deduction and it will be deducted from your benefits. So it will reduce your benefit and you will have to pay less tax. After that, it says a formula to use, how to calculate it. Allowance paid by the employer, as I said, in my case, if my boss was paying me 90 pence per mile, and I will have to multiply it by the number of miles I drove in a year, then I will have to deduct approved mileage allowance, which I will have to calculate according to the table given above. All right. So it could be a benefit or it could be an allowable deduction. After that, benefit number 13, it says beneficial loans. Now there are two ways to calculate it. Now beneficial loans are which the employer has given to employee, but employee is paying less than market interest rate. Now official rate of interest is 3%, and I told you that wherever in taxation, whether it is P6 or F6, wherever official rate of interest comes, please remember official rate of interest is 3%. So if employee is paying less than 3% a year, then that will be a benefit to the employee given by the employer, and it will be added in the income tax. It will be added in the benefits, and ultimately it will be going in the income tax pro forma. Now, how to calculate it? There are two ways. If the employee pays less than if the employee pays interest to employer less than official rate of interest, taxable amount is calculated using either of average method or now there are two methods. First one is average method, and the second one says average method as well, but it is not average method. I'll tell you later, but for now, first one is average method. Now, how to calculate average method? We'll have to see highest outstanding loan during a tax year. So say for example, I took a loan of £10,000 and I said to my employer that I will pay you £300 a month. So highest loan in a year will be £10,000, and then it will gradually be reducing every month I am paying. So it will gradually be reducing. So I will have to take highest loan during a tax year, which would be I hope £10,000, and plus lowest loan during a tax year, lowest loan whatever it will be during a tax year, and I will have to divide by 2, multiply it by months over 12, whatever the months were, and I will have to multiply it by official rate of interest, which is 3%. Now what I will have to deduct out of it is less amount actually paid, how much actually I paid for it, how much interest I actually paid. So whatever the balance is, I will have to compare it with the second method. Now second method is a outstanding in a month method. It is not average method. It is outstanding in a month, or a month method, you can say. So whatever outstanding is in a month, you will have to see each and every month how much it is outstanding, and then you will have to calculate the interest. Now the second method is, it is not average method. Please make sure you rectify it. Now the second method is balance of loan outstanding in months. Now balance of loan outstanding in months. So whichever month the loan was outstanding in, I will have to multiply it by 12, and I will have to multiply by again official rate of interest, which is 3%. So say for example, if I took the loan in January, so in January the loan was at highest level, so I will have to take for January, then I will have to take for February and March, so likewise. Then I will have to deduct what I actually paid for it, and the amount the amount will be the balance will be my benefit. Now in the notes it says that if the question is silent, choose the lower of two methods unless HMRC opts for higher. So if your question is silent, if question does not say anything, then please make sure you choose the one which results in a lower benefit. Now in beneath that it says if the loan is less than £10,000, the employee has taken a loan from employer which was less than £10,000, so in that case it will be exempt and you will not have to do nothing. Right, and after that there is a question here, interesting question of basic benefits. Now whatever we have learned so far, it will cover these bits in this small question. Please make sure you solve this question, and when you have solved this question, then we will I will show you in the next lesson how to do it, and then you can compare what you have done, where you went wrong and where you went right. But for now that's it, and I will see you in the next lecture with this question. So please make sure you do this question now, and I will show you the answers in the next question. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next lesson. Thank you, bye.